There were at least 9 of them. 9 distinct species of human walking the earth at the same time. They had names, they had tools. Some of them buried their dead, some of them made art. And you, sitting here, breathing, blinking, reading this sentence, are the product of the only one that survived. Every single one of the others is gone. Not endangered, not hiding in some uncontacted valley. Gone. Erased so completely that we didn't even know they existed until we started digging up their bones. And the question that should keep you up at night isn't what killed them. It's what that answer says about you. For most of human history, being the only human species on Earth felt obvious, natural, like it was always supposed to be this way. But that assumption is the lie. For roughly 2 million years, multiple species of humans shared forests, coastlines, and caves. Being the only human species alive is not the rule. It is the exception. It is a 5,000-year-old blip at the tail end of a very long, very crowded story. And the real question, the one anthropologists still argue about behind closed doors, is whether we inherited the Earth because we were the best of them or because we were the worst. To understand what happened, you have to go back to Africa, roughly 300,000 years ago when Homo sapiens first appeared. But here's the part your biology textbook left out. We weren't special. Not yet. The Neanderthals had already been thriving in Europe and Western Asia for over 200,000 years before we even existed. Their brains were larger than ours. Not by a little, by about 10% on average. They were physically stronger, more cold-adapted, and their tool technology was sophisticated enough that it persisted virtually unchanged for tens of thousands of years because it worked. In 2019, a team led by archaeologist Dirk Hoffman at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology published findings in Science showing that Neanderthals were painting cave walls in Spain at least 65,000 years ago, 20,000 years before Homo sapiens even arrived in Europe. They weren't brutes. They weren't failures. They were us, running a different operating system. And they weren't alone. On the island of Flores in Indonesia, a species barely 3.5 feet tall, Homo floresiensis, was hunting miniature elephants with stone tools. They survived on that island until roughly 50,000 years ago, which means they overlapped with modern humans by 250,000 years. In 2010, geneticist Svante Pabo and his team at the Max Planck Institute in Leipzig extracted DNA from a tiny finger bone found in a cave in Siberia and discovered an entirely new species, the Denisovans, a whole branch of humanity identified not from a skeleton, not from a skull, but from a single fragment of a child's pinky finger. They had lived across Asia for hundreds of thousands of years. We barely know what they looked like, but we know they were real because pieces of them are still inside you. That's the first layer. You are not purely Homo sapiens. If your ancestry traces back to Europe, roughly 2% of your DNA is Neanderthal. If your ancestry is Melanesian or Aboriginal Australian, you carry up to 6% Denisovan DNA. These aren't trace amounts. These are functional genes that affect your immune system, your skin, your ability to survive at high altitudes. A 2016 study published in the American Journal of Human Genetics by geneticist Joshua Akey at the University of Washington found that Neanderthal DNA variants influence your risk of depression, your sensitivity to sunlight, even whether you're a morning person or a night owl. The dead are not dead. They are running subroutines in your cells right now, shaping the body you think of as entirely yours. The word extinct starts to feel less like a clean ending and more like a haunting. But here's where the story turns darker. Because the fact that we interbred with them means we were close enough to meet them, live beside them, and in some cases, raise children with them. And then they vanished. All of them. Every last one. And timing is the prosecution's most damning evidence. Wherever Homo sapiens arrived, the other species disappeared within a few thousand years. Sometimes less. Neanderthals survived in Europe for over 300,000 years. Within 5,000 years of our arrival, they were gone. Homo erectus, the longest surviving human species, nearly 2 million years on Earth, disappeared from its last refuge in Java shortly after modern humans reached Southeast Asia. Homo floresiensis vanished from Flores around the same time sapiens showed up on nearby islands. The pattern isn't subtle, it's a conviction. In 2020, a study led by Oren Kolodny at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, published in Nature Communications, modeled population dynamics between sapiens and Neanderthals for over 100,000 years. The conclusion was chilling in its simplicity. Homo sapiens didn't need to be smarter, didn't need to wage war, didn't need a single technological advantage. All we needed was a slightly higher birth rate and a slightly lower death rate. Over thousands of years, that tiny edge compounds like interest on a loan you can never repay. Even a 1% demographic advantage, sustained across millennia, makes extinction not just possible, but inevitable. We didn't have to hate them. We just had to outlast them. And that might be the most unsettling version of the story. Not genocide, but replacement so slow that nobody alive at any given moment would have noticed it happening. But the demographic model is only part of it. There's something else Homo sapiens could do that none of the others seem to match. Not tool-making, not fire, not language. Neanderthals almost certainly had some form of language based on their hyoid bone structure and the presence of the FOXP2 gene. The thing that separated us was stranger. It was the ability to believe in things that don't exist. In 2014, historian Yuval Noah Harari at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem published *Sapiens*, in which he argued that the decisive advantage of Homo sapiens was what he called the cognitive revolution, the capacity for shared fiction, gods, laws, nations, money, stories about the future. A Neanderthal could trust and cooperate with maybe 20 or 30 individuals, the people they personally knew. A sapiens could cooperate with thousands because they could all believe in the same invisible thing. You can't forge an alliance of 500 strangers to coordinate a hunt across 200 miles of territory unless all 500 of them believe in the same story. And a tribe of 500 will always overwhelm a tribe of 30. Not because they're smarter, because they're organized by a shared hallucination. This is the part nobody talks about. The thing that made us the last human standing wasn't strength, wasn't intelligence in the way we usually mean it, wasn't even cruelty. It was our ability to be captivated by things that aren't real. Fiction, myth, abstract identity. The same cognitive machinery that lets you cry during a movie, feel loyal to a flag, or believe a paper rectangle is worth a meal. That is the weapon that cleared the earth of every other human species. Our greatest evolutionary advantage is our ability to collectively hallucinate and then act on the hallucination as if it were stone. And the cost was enormous. The world before us was richer in a way we can barely imagine. Imagine walking through a forest in prehistoric Europe and encountering another kind of human. Not an enemy, not an animal. A person, with different eyes, a different build, a different way of seeing the same river. For millions of years, that was normal. Earth was a planet of many humanities. We grew up in a house full of siblings, and one by one, room by room, it went quiet. The Denisovans, the Neanderthals, Homo heidelbergensis, Homo naledi, discovered in a South African cave in 2013 by paleoanthropologist Lee Berger, a species that appears to have deliberately disposed of its dead in the deepest chambers of the Rising Star cave system, in what some researchers call the earliest evidence of ritual burial by a non-sapiens human. They may have mourned. They may have had something like reverence, and they are gone. You carry fragments of them. Neanderthal genes that help your blood clot. Denisovan genes that let Tibetan populations breathe at 17,000 feet. The ghosts of 9 species, folded into your genome like letters slipped under a door by people who no longer exist. You are not the survivor of a fair competition. You are the last one standing in a house that used to be full. And the silence is so old, you mistook it for the way things have always been. Tonight, when you look at another person, a stranger on a train, a face across a room, you are looking at the only kind of human left, not because the others were less, but because we were the ones who could look at an empty sky and agree on what it meant. We filled the world with our stories, and in doing so, we emptied it of everyone else. 9 species, One remains. And the thing that saved us is the same thing that made us dangerous.